Welcome back to Brunch, a Taste of Tobago. I am so honored, I'm so pleased that you guys are with us today. Now, it's a beautiful Monday on the island of Tobago. And why can't we speak about agriculture? Let me officially welcome you to our Agro Corner. This is a staple of our Monday brunch episode lineup. So, this is what we do on a Monday. And of course, this is for those of you who are joining us for the first time. And I am very privileged to welcome Secretary Nathisha Charles-Pantin to the set of Brunch. Now, Secretary Pantin, I have said it openly, we always talk, and I personally commend you for the work that you are doing with your team. I also have to make mention of TADCO because, together you guys are changing the face of agriculture. I had so many representatives from your division. Oh, and good morning to that beautiful division, that division of natural resources. Oh my gosh, food security, sustainable development, the environment, and you guys do so much, And one of your representatives was here and she was saying, it's time to make agriculture sexy. And, I laughed at the word sexy, but what she basically meant was changing the narrative, changing the face of agriculture. So let's delve in. There's quite a lot. There's so much that we need to discuss, but we're trying to put as much into as little time as possible. So let's speak on mega farming. What's going on? Let's delve in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first let me say good morning to everyone, and I like the fact that she's encouraging persons to make agriculture sexy.
Yes.
Being the first female secretary, I can tell you it has already started because I believe I'm sexy.
Whoop, whoop.
All right. So, beggar farming. First, I want to say that traditionally we've heard about mega farms, and that's like a huge, space, acres of land being under cultivation or production, as you want to say. But that is not the approach that we will be taking. Our approach, and maybe we have to change the term mega farm, but given the mandate, the research and the pilot that we have been doing in terms of the poultry contract farm initiative, we would be given contracts to produce certain commodities. Yeah?
Yes.
And if you take it into in the whole sense, it is mega farming because you're getting the quantities that you want, the consistency, right? So that is the approach. So wherever you are, if you're in Mason Hall, if you're in Plymouth, if you're in Crown Point, you have acres of land, you want to bring it under production, we will bring you under contract with TADCO, and you will be producing, and TADCO will come, collect, process, package, market. Yeah? So it is not mega farming in the traditional sense, not the failed models that you would have had. That is why we started with the poultry, and you would have recently experienced where the boat shut down, and we were able to supply the different franchises, and we had the walk-in sales. It was a perfect example of becoming self-sufficient.
Yes. And self-sufficiency is so, I don't want to sound like a cliche, but it is so important. It's so important to have that comfort in knowing that you're self-sufficient, that comfort in knowing, okay, we're sustainable.
Correct.
We can do this, we can make it, we can, toot our own horn.
Correct.
It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
Yes, and I expect to get the lash for every little thing that I do, because that's the opposition doing what they have to do.
Yes.
But my job is to make everything sustainable and to ensure that we don't embarrass ourselves as a country when we have an emergency or we have a disaster, that we're able to supply food to people. And that's why I don't politicize it at all.
Yes.
Because if something is to happen to Tobagonians, as it relates to food, we will all be affected.
Yes,
Yeah?
we would be.
So whether it's pest and disease, whatever it is, whether the boat stop working, we have to be able to withstand whatever comes. Yeah? So that is why it is important that we get on board with the project. In whatever way, you might think, oh, okay, all I'm doing is growing some flavor peppers. If you're doing it on a large scale, let's get together and supply it. Because the market out there wants quality, they want consistency, they want quantity. And that is what the mega farming project is about.
And I've heard, some of my colleagues, my brothers and sisters, and we boast about, that Tobago soil. We boast about the quality.
Correct.
Of what comes forth from what we grow.
Correct.
And I think we need to take so much pride in that.
Correct.
Yeah?
And I mean, now in this age, you can manipulate soil wherever it is. Yeah. But Tobago, we have the opportunity to do what you call it, green farming. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Yeah. As opposed to the more the types of approaches where you have massive production being done under control environments in large countries. We're really close to the land. And we have the opportunity to demonstrate nationally and internationally that this is what a traditional farm looks like. Yes. This is what healthy living looks like. And we should be marketing that as a tourism product as well. Yeah, because we have a unique culture here, especially as it relates to farming. You could do farm tours. You could still have fresh juices, right? When you come off the boat. What can you do in Tobago that is different to England? You know, everything is totally different. Yes. I've lived there for 3 years. I've lived in Scotland for 3 years. And I can tell you that every time I go back, they want something. Yeah?
Yeah.
And everything they want, they don't have it there. I'm telling you, the wildlife population, I mean, they hardly have any sort of wildlife. We have everything here. Even as you wake up, you see a gecko in your house. Well, you walk outside, you're seeing birds. They actually have to travel to places to see those things.
See that, yeah.
So what we take for granted, the world wants to see. I'm telling you that.
And what is interesting is that we have plant life and animal life that is found nowhere else in the world. This is such a big deal. I don't even think we make a big enough deal of that in terms of marketing what we have.
Correct.
And I think this is one of the issues, that we keep having, in terms of our research, market research. Tell us about the Agri Research Institute, because this is something that I think just for the viewers, they want to know what's going on with agriculture today.
Well, we have to move away from the traditional way we see agriculture. Yeah. And we have to use a better approach as it relates to education, for example. We have the Kendall Farm School, and it's very efficient at, the level of expertise that you can get there as it relates to farming. But we could do more with that institute, yeah? And we could have more courses, because you have things like climate change to consider, yeah? Fisheries, we could do a lot as it relates to fisheries. And funny enough, we live in a country, an island where we're located to the coast. You drive right around Tobago, most of the houses located around the coastline.
That's right.
Yeah. So we have a school that can capture a lot more courses. And let me get specific to agriculture. So what we have is lack of connectivity with the stations. We have a lot of stations that can do demonstration, scientific demonstration as well. And we need to connect it with the Kendall Farm School. So we're going to call it Tobago Agri Research Institute. Yeah?
Right.
So we would be branding some of these stations as TARI participative units. So if people from ECIA, for example, they would come yearly to get technical advice and do tours on our farms. So they would be able to actually do more at the farms and to get more technical assistance and do technical studies. So we have to start looking at connectivity and how we can utilize the institute and partner with other institutes so that people can be certified in different things.
Right.
So that is the vision for TARI.
Okay. You know, one of the things that has been buzzing about, because so many people seem to be concerned, our fisheries sector.
Yes.
And what are we doing in terms of developing our fisheries sector? Yeah.
Well, we have talented fisher folk across the island, extremely talented with a lot of experience. And what we have to do is organize those people in such a way that we can capitalize on building a sustainable industry. Now, the industry requires several things, especially in terms of quality control, right? But we have jump-started the sector using the capital of paradise, yeah? That was done for many years. And now we're actually engaging in commercial fishing. Now, it was a pilot, we are now exporting yellowfish tuna. And we have a bycatch, a sizable bycatch that we supply to hotels.
Right.
And also to the school feeding program and the individual, we have the walk-in sales. Oh, and let me take the opportunity to tell you, we have fish for sale this Christmas, right?
Yes.
So we're doing business, but we still have some training to do because in order to meet international standards, the fisher folk have to do several things. They have to understand you know, how to, when you capture the fish, what you have to do to prepare it, you know, so that it meets international standards and sale to the general public, right? So that's why I always tell people, agriculture is a business and a science. You see that scientific part?
Science.
Because what you eat, we don't take for granted, you know, what you eat. Sometimes you go and you buy food and sometimes you end up home. You want to know why your belly hurting you, right? So we have to ensure that what we give to the public, it is fit for consumption. Whatever you consume affects your health and it puts a lot of strain on the division of health. So our food here is important. And that's why we take, you know, everything along the value chain seriously. So we are developing the fish. And of course, we're going to develop the bait industry. That's something new. Where we have a set net. The set net was actually given by JICA, by the Japanese, about 20 years ago, since 2003, and it's still in a box. So we're going to dust it out and finally build the bait industry. So the fisher folk will get bait, all those pirogues around the island, and we can service Trinidad, we could service different islands, Grenada, all across the Caribbean.
Yes.
So, and that is a $1 million, $1 billion industry in itself. St. Vincent has a bait industry as well. So it is something that we're working towards. We want it to be community-based. So we are working with the fisher folk in order to build it out. And of course, all the benefits, they will reap it as well. So we want to transform the division from just one of, you know, just facilitating, you know, without any vision, but to make commercial entities coming out from the different sectors. Yeah.
You know, and one of the things that you mentioned in terms of there's the journey from when the fish is caught and, you know, preservation, how your surroundings, environment, temperature. I mean, all these things come into play.
Yeah, when the fish folk they're out there and on the capital of paradise, and the fish comes in, it is cut, the blood is drained one time, it's ice at a certain temperature. All these things have to be taught. Yeah. You can't bring the fish back to the shore with all the blood in it. If you kill a chicken, you don't kill the chicken and then you transport in Crown Point and then you transport it with all the blood to Roxborough. You don't do that. So there are different, and there's a reason for that. As I said, everything is about your health, protecting you as the individual. And we at the division, we understand the science. We have excellent technical officers. We have experienced people in this space. For example, the captain of the capital of paradise, he's assisting us in building out the bait industry. He's an invaluable resource. Definitely. And he has volunteered his time because he's not getting paid for that. He's getting paid to work at the capital of paradise, but he understands the bigger picture.
Yes.
And you see those people out there that understand the bigger picture, I have to say, I love you. You know, a long time when somebody develop an art, they're hiding that down to the wire, they're carrying that to the grave, you know.
Yes.
But now you have people coming forward and they're seeing the bigger picture of what Tobago can become if we come together and build out industries. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have dreamers in this space. And earlier this morning, I was pleading to people on a different show that if you have a dream, oh, come forward with it, right? And even more so, if your dream embraces other people, because there are some dreams you need other people to build with it, come faster.
Yes, yes.
Right? Because we have to move away from just you're thinking a early morning job could sustain you. It cannot.
No.
When you talk about milk and Pampers and then you have your rent to pay if you're renting, you talk about transport, you talk about buying clothes, you talk about buying food, that $5,000 and $6,000 cannot sustain you.
And education if you have
and
children.
education if you have children.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I'm a representative, so I can tell you that money, that cannot sustain you.
Yes, it can.
But I can tell you, if that is what you want, think beyond that as well, right? Look for something else to do. Don't just give up and say, okay, well, I'll get a job and I'm sitting pretty. Look at the different races, for example. So let's do a little check. Yes,
right,
you know?
yeah.
You see where they're guiding the children into business automatically, right? When I went down to Crown Point on Saturday, I said, let me stop in. I heard of this new store open, a new supermarket, right where First Citizens Bank was. And I went in there, and I mean, I don't know who owns it, but I observe a lot of Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah? So you look at different races and you see where they're pushing their children. And I'm pushing them to get an early morning job. I can't even recall being on any job anyway, seeing a Chinese cutting the side of the road. Can you? Let's be honest.
Yes.
You ever see it?
No, I have not.
Syrians, you seen it?
Not.
But they are some of the richest people in Trinidad and Tobago.
And you know, that's the thing, because we seem to have a standard when it comes to certain things. Because I remember one time there was a friend of mine, he had a grocery, and he would have his son and his nephew cashing and, you know, doing inventory and invoices and stuff like that. And I remember that was like a big deal. Like everyone was like, no, those children are supposed to be in school. And it took me back, because you're not seeing the big picture. You're not seeing that, okay, this man is choosing to push his family, push his legacy. And so he's not going to be here forever.
No.
He's pushing them into business.
Into business one time.
Yeah.
Right? And we are the buyers. We make up the majority of buyers from their businesses. Right? But how many of us are encouraging our young people to get into business?
Yeah.
And it is not for lack of skill. It isn't. But what is the root cause of our young people doing that? Now, those who would have chosen, I use the capital of paradise, for example. We have a lot of young men on board. We are mentoring young fisher folk on board as well, because we hope to build out other vessels in times to come, so that we have a fleet of vessels.
Definitely.
And these young people make more money than I do. And I am happy for them.
Yes.
And that's another thing. We need to be happy for our people that are successful.
Yes. Oh, you need to say that again. Are you guys hearing? Be happy for the success. Stop pulling and tugging and dragging everybody else down and all of this nonsense that we do here.
Yeah, definitely. I am happy for their success. I cannot be, I mean, I wanted to be a doctor, to be honest, but I was pushed into something different, and I could see why now, you know?
Yes.
But when I see my colleagues that are doctors, we greet each other and we are proud of each other, most importantly. But you don't get that feeling that you know, people are successful for people that are successful.
Yes.
You know, sorry, people are what you call it? They are happy, sorry, for people that are successful. We need to start supporting our own, right? You see somebody trying, yeah, they're trying to sell their sauce, their boiled corn, buy it, right? Support them, but support them to open a kitchen.
Exactly.
Right?
And look at the bigger picture, because sometimes we don't look at things that
Yeah.
it's something that would grow. And I think that's one of the underlying factors.
When we are successful, we want people to clap for us. Right? But we had to start learning to clap for others when they are successful.
Definitely.
Yeah? God would have bestowed all of us with some sort of skill, right? And I believe it is the support that he looked at, right? My technical officers, they are constantly out there supporting our stakeholders, right, to become successful.
Yes.
The division is a facilitator, yeah? And I always say to them, without you, we are nothing in the division. Yeah?
Definitely.
And the stakeholders out there, if they sit back and truly understand how my division is configured, and they embrace the technical advice, you can do marvelous things. Look at how easy it was for the Poultry Contract Farm Initiative to roll out. When people, they came together and worked towards the same goal. The capital of paradise. It isn't easy to be out there 3 weeks on the sea. You're not seeing mommy, you're not seeing daddy, you're not seeing sister, brother, girlfriend, to come back with how much pounds? Thousands of pounds of fish. And listen, to lift up one of that, you had to have some strength. Yeah? So when they come together, they do marvelous things and they get paid for it and they move on with their lives. They make further investments. I want to see those, the crew, for example, that they move on and they get their own vessels. Yeah, that is the idea I'm having in mind. Because if you have that type of experience, being on the Atlantic, you could fish for yourself. Yeah, you could work with other crews. You could be like Captain Ellis one day. Yeah, and that is the conversation Captain Ellis would often have with me. He training the younger ones to do just like him, to become captain on the vessel, and he speaks Japanese. Just because of his interaction with different, going out there, meeting with international people, he's trained in different languages. Yeah.
And it's so wonderful because I'm seeing the passion and I love the way the conversation is going. We are out of time.
Oh my gosh, sorry. Sorry.
But you have to come back because we have so much more to discuss, right? So from our family to yours, blessings to you, and success in whatever you endeavor to do.
Yes, thank you, and same for you.
Thank you so much. Right. So we're going to take a break, guys. We're going to be right back with more Brunch, A Taste of Tobago. But before we do that, our trivia question for today. Now, this is a good one. When did Brunch, A Taste of Tobago first air? And on what date? So you guys get to typing and let me see. If you're a true Brunch fan, you'll know the answer to this question. We're going to be right back. Stay tuned.